Today on Over the Bars podcast, I can't hear myself. Jesus, that's loud. There we go. Yep. Still can't. Whatever. Today on Over the Bars podcast, we've got none other than Hollywood 414, Jesse George. 1996 Supercross champion, 250 SX.
And some other false facts.
Okay. This is really... Okay. We're good.
Are we going now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're on.
Sorry. I kind of screwed up the little mix here.
That's typical for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite the soundboard.
Thank you. It was bought and paid for by Patreon contributors.
Patreon.
Back whenever we had the Patreon.
There's no more Patreon? Or is there? Or
No.
there's no fan Patreon?
Yeah.
Listener Patreon.
If you want to be a sponsor of the show, you have to contact us and we'll set it up and then it bills through Patreon. But the reason I wanted to get away from that model is, number one, I'll just say right now, Mike is really bad about consistently printing stickers. And then he also had to ship them or mail them out. And it just,
And here we are. We're bagging on Mike. We don't have Mike today.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
I am very disappointed in him not being here.
As are we.
You know what I was thinking about? That you guys should have not named the show. Maybe you should name the shop that.
What?
The Sandbox. Where you guys
Used to play our little toys. Yeah.
OTB live from the Sandbox.
So I'm in the process of buying a house, and one of the first houses that we looked at, there was this giant sandbox in the backyard. So I was a little excited.
You go dig out your toy collection?
I don't have one. I'd have to start all over again. I'd get on eBay.
Aubrey's like,
Get on
I
eBay
don't
for sure.
understand why you're excited.
Speaking of eBay, I just picked up a new set of Fox pants on eBay. Yellow,
Which year?
Yellow 360. I don't know. I'm not sure. Somewhere between 2000 and 2003. And then it's going to go with a 1997 cotton RS jersey that I've got. That's the orange and yellow that nobody raced in. It's great. What? Oh.
Keep going. I got a story about that.
Okay, so nobody raced in orange and yellow because at the time the only people that were riding, racing for Fox were McGrath, Lamson, Wyndham, whoever else would have been, Dowd. So nobody.
Green. Everything was green pretty much.
No. The thing was Honda guys had to wear red.
Right.
Yamaha guys had to wear blue. Carmichael, if he was wearing Fox that year, which I think he was in Axo in 97, or if it was Fox, then no, let's see.
It was Axo then.
It would have been Axo, yeah. So nobody wore that yellow and orange stuff to race in it. They only, had it in photos.
Photo shoots and
the
stuff.
only person that I can remember wearing that stuff is Mike Metzger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Assuming that he was 97. Hold on, is that... Let me see what we have here. Okay.
That the stuff?
Look at that.
No.
Dang.
This is...
I have a story about that stuff.
This is similar. So this is a photo of McGrath. I'm not sure... This would have been 98?
Is that out of a calendar?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hold on.
That's the gold Showtime. Huh?
Okay,
the
so
bikes.
this was the 1999 calendar, and
That's the stuff I was thinking of.
yeah, no, this is very
Are
similar.
you thinking the first year?
No, so this is a photo
Orange
of
then?
McGrath from 98. Okay, so the 97 stuff is a little bit different than this.
I
And
remember
this
what
is,
you're talking about.
I can't tell, but I don't think that's a cotton jersey.
No.
I don't think that it is. I think that's actually polyester.
They had a couple different ones.
So yeah, they had the RS, and then what was the other gear model? Because at that time they had 180 pants, 360 pants, but then the jerseys, one was RS, and then the other one was, I don't know.
I don't remember. I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of what it was called because the RS was the synthetic one.
No, the RS is the cotton. That's what
Mine
I know.
had a cotton jersey.
But then
there was a couple different models of this. So.
it makes me wonder. Okay, so then remember the old jerseys that had white backs on them?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Scott, that was before you.
Yeah, probably. I might have had some shift stuff that would have had something like that.
I had a shift jersey that had a white back on it. You know who else did?
The Imig stuff had the white back, I think.
Rob rides a KTM now.
Rob
Rollins wore shift gear that always had the white back on it. Yeah, and he'd buy the shift lettering kit.
Mm-hmm.
Remember whenever those were a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my first jersey was done like that.
Really? Was it Scott or Gebke?
I don't remember what it was. But it never stayed on. It lasted like 2 rides and it all fell off because Mom had to iron it on, and then it just didn't last.
Okay. So here's, and I wish Gabe was here, because this stuff, I don't know how many years back, when Instagram was like new, I think. Mm-hmm. And I had this stuff, pulled it out, because I remember I ran the red gloves, because McGrath ran the red gloves with it too. And so I took a picture, because I have that helmet too. So I pulled it out of the boxes and I was like, holy crap. Took a picture of it, like tagged McGrath in it, and he like typed back. And it was like, my chin hit the floor.
Yeah.
And then of course, Gabe chimes in, oh my God, Jeremy freaking answered. And then he's like, I love you or something, to MC. And MC's like, yeah, thanks or something. Yeah. It was like when you could first tag somebody.
Yeah.
And they would actually see it instead of like hundreds of thousands now or whatever it is. Crazy.
That's so funny.
But I was like, that's freaking cool.
Do you ever watch his McGrath's garage or attic videos? Sky, have you seen those?
No.
So he does these
like
little
on
videos.
YouTube?
They're always on Instagram as clips, but I think there's full things of it. Yeah, it's McGrath's attic, and dude, it's unreal. There's so much stuff that he has up there.
The one thing I have seen one like that, and it was his bikes. It was like his 250 2-stroke collection or something.
That's awesome.
And there was like 7 or 8 of them lined up from each model or something like that, or one of them was like a row of Hondas or something.
You have I was thinking
maybe
of
not.
one he had like a pool party after, and then he popped the garage and went out, but it might have been a different one.
I don't know. This was him talking like he was going down the list talking about him, but it probably wasn't a McGrath garage.
Were there any KTMs in there?
I think it was like a Honda only thing. I think it was just like his list because of course I'm only going to look at the Hondas.
It makes me wonder what would have happened if he didn't break his hip on that KTM.
Killed the Mac.
Yeah, the bike that killed the Mac.
Yeah, that's it. Ended it up.
That was on the cover of Motocross Action.
How much do you think how much did he get paid for that? Because he had Bud Light in on that one.
Let me tell you, it was a lot.
Right. I mean, this is back when there was big money to be made.
Okay. Listen to this. I think I may have talked about this before on the show, but it would have been a long time ago. In 2003, I was on the KTM amateur support program. I got bikes for $500 is what bikes cost me. $500 with a limit of 5, and then after 5 it jumped up to like 1,000 per bike or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that was the deal. So let's see, me, Robbie Robertson, Ryan Voigt, Reese Robertson, Jimmy, Kendall Owens.
Was Jonathan Kemp?
No, Kemp was not on the team. So, and it was crazy because it was designated by the rider or the sales reps were the ones. So at the time, Guy Cooper was the guy.
Oh, okay.
So Cooper was the dude.
You got an Extreme 50 for free, probably too.
Yeah.
So Coop was the dude that set up. He picked the riders. It was a really cool program because KTM then let the sales. It was a good way to keep the sales reps in the sport versus just going to dealers and running numbers, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So the sales reps were the ones that picked the amateur support riders instead of it being like Orange Brigade like it is now, farm system. And 2003, it was just bikes, dude, bikes. Just
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
They signed McGrath, and it was done.
That was the end of the program.
The entire program folded up entirely. The next year in 2004, everybody that was on KTMs in 2003 had went to Cowie, Suzuki, Yamaha, Honda. Nobody was on KTMs the next year because KTM pulled all that budget from the amateur team and put it into McGrath, only for him to get hurt and never even race it.
Right.
And then many years later, 2010 2010, whenever I was on, or 2011, whenever I was on Big Wave Dave's KTM 450, the Letco bike. Me and Tanner Moore were going to do the Arena Cross series. KTM was going to give us 4. You see that? Count 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 250Fs at $0 plus an $8,000 parts allowance.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. You should see I don't have the resume anymore, but dude, I did like a full-fledged packet. And the thing was, not only did I have KTM on board, I had MotorX $5,000 parts allowance. I had Twin Air. I had rental. I had all these
all the stuff you needed.
Yeah. So it wasn't going to cost us anything to hop up these bikes. It was just, so it was going to be me and Tanner, 2011 Arena Cross team. And then they signed Dungey.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep. The bikes were on the way.
Damn you, Dungey.
To the distribution center here in Kansas City where they bring the bikes in.
Do you have a personal vendetta against Ryan Dungey now?
And Jeremy McGrath both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, because they
two
both
of the greatest
folded
of all time.
my KTM program. So
Killed the crutch. It doesn't work. Didn't work. KTC.
Yeah, so that's what happened to me. That's my sob story.
That's it. Sob story. Sad way to start off on such a busy weekend in motorcycling. That's how we start the show, with a sad, poor me, Jeff Crutcher story.
I have plenty of them. Keep going if you'd like. You want to talk? I can give you one right now.
I can give you one right now as well.
I'll start before you do.
Okay, go ahead.
I lived at FedEx all week, so I didn't have time to prep up my bike to go racing this weekend, and I'm just fucking devastated. And of course, so it was a series of unfortunate events. We went riding for your class,
right? Which was super sick
for bar to bar last weekend. And then Monday, I got called in early. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, worked 13 hours each day. Yesterday, I had a easier route. I got home at 5:30. I showed up to work at 7. I still worked 10 and a half hours, essentially. Got home, and it's my girlfriend's birthday. So I couldn't do anything.
Your motorcycle didn't exist yesterday.
Right, yeah. So then I woke up this morning at 7 o'clock, and I was looking at the rain radar. I was like, fuck it. I'm not gonna ride today. It started raining in Lawrence whenever I got loaded up to come out here at 10 o'clock, and it has not dropped one single thing. I'm thinking, man, practice started at 10 o'clock. I could have gotten 3 sessions in.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. But instead, you're sitting here in the over-the-bar studio.
20 minutes from the track.
20 minutes from the track, talking into a microphone,
Torture.
staring at
If
our
we
ugly
open
mugs.
the door, we might even be able to hear it.
Yeah, it's that close.
Yeah, I mean, we were halfway there to come here.
You're right. I thought about it, but you can't turn left off Buckner Tarzan.
No, you can't.
Anymore.
You got to go down and bust a U-turn.
I was like, well, guess I can't go riding.
That's a little. that's it. Can't do it anymore. I always go down to F in Oak Grove and cut over anyway.
I'll probably learn that eventually.
Yeah, for sure. That's the way I go. It's a little bit easier.
I gotta say, I have a hard time on busy weekends like this to go out there. I think it's getting older. I don't like sitting out there all day. When I'm there, I want to ride. So sitting through 6 sessions of 15 minutes or whatever they are now, one session every hour and a half is hard for me.
So has Jesse George Hollywood become a woods rider now?
I wouldn't say that.
He's got a woods bike.
I got a woods bike, and I tried to run it on a Arena Cross track. That doesn't work. Nope.
Sure doesn't.
But no, my garage has one bike for each style, so I can scratch that itch. Like the other day, I got out the Supermoto, run around, do my errands on it, whatever, go tear it up. I got the woods bike, and then I got my CR 250. So,
what year is your 250?
04.
Scott, can we talk about it?
I can't wait to talk about it. I've been waiting.
Giggly. I couldn't respond to your text because my phone was jacked. Yeah. But man, those pictures, I was like, I want to zoom in on this.
Oh, dude. Do you want to start the conversation, or should I?
Go. It's your bike.
So it's Wednesday night. my phone lights up, goes off. I look down. It's a group text message. Jeff's included on it. It's a text message from a buddy of ours with a couple photos of a 2007 CR250 two-stroke that looks like it just rolled off the Donnell showroom floor.
Yeah, it's quite mint.
I mean, it's spec perfect. I think it's been rode. What do you say in the text 3 times or something
since
like that?
He's had it, 3 times. He might have put in an hour on it, and then the guy that had it before. Total, I'd say the bike has 10 hours on it. Total.
Oh, I wouldn't even think that much. Unless half those hours are really nice, easy, gentle riding.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm going to pick up this sweet, perfect 2007 CR250 tomorrow morning. And I am so excited. It just fell into my lap. And this is after being at Bar to Bar all last weekend for the training and watching Jeff just rip his 125 around. Yeah, it's like, man, I think I need one of these whenever I can come back to riding in the next year from now.
Yeah. Gives you a good project, too.
Yeah, I need something to tinker on, something to play with.
Well, that's the thing. You're going to have to take the motor apart.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
And the reason that I say that is because it's a 12-year-old motorcycle that has 10 hours on it. The seals are bad.
Right.
They may not be destroyed, totally weather cracked, but whenever the oil hasn't been turned over in the crankcase, then those seals get dry, they rot, they go bad, and then the crank will go out in it.
Right. So
now the thing is, you can buy a Pro X crank and rod combo for like $300 for that bike.
I did a rod on my 04. I did it all. But I think the OEM Honda is what I went with on it.
Yeah.
And it went well. That was one of those where I kept on hearing this sound and I couldn't trace it down. Eventually I was like, it's going to show its face.
I'm taking the whole thing
and
apart
the rod
right now.
broke finally. So, rebuilt motor, but $800 completely rebuilt top to bottom. I mean,
right. Instead of just valves and a piston and a
got all
cylinder
my parts
head.
at Donnell's Motorcycles, 17851 East 40 Highway in Independence, Missouri. 478-9393.
So once I get this thing in my hands, I'm gonna give Bart a call and see if he has anything laying around, see if he has any interest in tinkering on it at all, or pointing me in the right direction, because I've never owned a 252 stroke.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, shoot.
So yeah. So and the last
this is
CR252 stroke that I rode was out at the Arnold's house. So this is 2004, 2003 maybe. I rode. There was 2 twin brothers that have them.
We talked about this on the last show.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. Anyways, I yard sailed this thing, knocked myself into next week, didn't know what day it was or anything like that.
The last time that I remember Scott riding a 252 stroke was at Crutcherwood on my RM 250, the one that I sold to Mike. We traded bikes for 3 or 4 laps, which is a total of 3 or 4 minutes at my house. And I was on Scott's bike and I was laughing because I was like, how can someone ride this? It was so slow, but that was like your practice.
It was, it was not
prime.
Yeah, no. It was like held together with baling wire and zip ties, And
then he was on my bike that was a Chad Newman motor or Area 51. And he gets off and he's like, I hate it. It's scary. It's so fast. I don't want to ride it.
Fuck this thing. It's way too fast.
Yeah.
Way too fast. It was terrifying. And now here I am buying one.
You're also buying the slowest 252
Which
stroke.
I'm totally stoked.
Perfect.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I am so pumped.
Sounds good. Sounds crisp. It's got that RC valve on it.
Yeah. Which I don't even know what that does.
Don't worry about it.
Perfect.
I like
radio
them.
control.
You can ride them pretty much wide open and feel in control. Where at least when I do that on a 450, my arms are getting yanked off the damn bars.
Yeah, see, we were talking about that. We were texting, Jeff and I were texting back and forth about that this week, about riding 125s and like I think you go faster. Like, especially if you have good technique and you know what you're riding properly with good line selection and you know how to ride and race, you can go faster on a 125 because everything's happening in slow motion. So you're hitting your points right, your marks on the track, your body positioning and everything is right where it's supposed to be. So you're carrying the momentum and things like that, and you can go faster. The hard part now is a lot of tracks aren't built for 125s. So a lot of them are point and shoot, and so you have to get real creative to to make certain jumps or make an obstacle work or something like that. But we were talking about that, how I swear you go faster on a 125, a 134, whatever you want them to be, and because everything is happening in slow motion, you have time to think about it. And if you start to slide, you just put your foot down just barely, and it stands right up. And
what was a 125 when it was 80 over?
I know when I was riding 125s, everybody had 134s, and then after that,
so I think
there was a 144 one there.
Well,
too.
the 144 is what they went to after that, and then Husky KTM came out with their 150 kit.
Which is a 143.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even a 150. It just sounds nicer as a 150.
I got to say, I never jacked with modifications on any of my bikes. They were bone stock all the way across because I was too afraid of having to something happening.
I don't remember you ever having a 125 two-stroke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you had Suzuki's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember the 252 stroke, but I don't remember you having a 125.
Yep, I went, let's see, my first coming off had a 98 CR 125. Then,
and see, I remember that.
And then I got a two-stroke, an RM 250, a 97 RM 250 or something. I was racing
and I remember that
together.
bike also. Were you wearing Thor at that time?
I don't know. That might be something that a Shroud slipped me or something if I did.
Yeah. I think we all have got stuff like that before.
Dude, the tactic was to always go to Shrouds at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because Brett would get off lunch break and he'd be like, man, just take it. Don't worry about it.
That was it.
I don't know how many
I had a Thor
goggles I got like that.
That I'd one of those, not the Aftershock, the Scatter Shield.
Yeah.
Because you could wear those underneath.
The Brock Sellards.
Yes.
Yep. I got the same exact one from there.
And then I'd cut the plastic off the top.
Same.
And money. I still wish I had one of those or get another one because, yeah, that's a whole another topic. Chest protectors.
Oh, we texted about that this week too.
We're just talking about that this week also.
Well,
so let's talk about them.
All right, let's go there. It protected my back, and that was an under protector.
Oh shit! Yeah, when you got ran over.
I've always been big about if you're wearing a chest protector, have that plastic down your spine, dude. You know, because people want they want the roost protection, yeah, but that's not why I give it. I mean, yeah, roost sucks. You know what? The first time I got roosted from a 4-stroke was the man that sits in that office over there, Greg Garrison, when
hit you on
first Yamaha came out. Yeah, and I remember going down to Kingsville back straight, and that roost hit me right in the nards. About made me cry.
Did you have to pull over?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I mean, I pulled off, and I was like, oh, my God. And it was crazy. But but anyway, you watch people take handlebars, through the stomach. I mean, you hit your sternum, crossbar pad, and then across the back. Obviously, you end up over OTB and on your back or somebody else on your back. I don't know that too.
I had my dad and I was getting ready to go ride. And he's like, "You're not gonna are you not wearing your chest protector anymore?" I said, "No, I haven't worn it." And but I was wearing an under protector at the time. I was like, I haven't worn it in probably, I don't know, a year and a half. He didn't even realize it. He just never realized. And he said, "Come here." And he grabbed a 2x4. He said, "Let me hit you with this thing." I said, "No, it'll hurt." He said, "Then why are you going to ride without a chest protector?" I was like, shit, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
It's not the roost. I mean, roost sucks,
right.
Yeah, but you can take it. But it's the handlebars, it's
everything else,
tires,
pegs.
whenever you hit the ground, yeah, that kind of stuff. And so then, just as an experiment, I did put the chest protector on, and then he did proceed to whack me right in the chest with a 2x4 just to see what it was like.
Right.
And it was a baseball swing. I mean, he went full hog on it.
He had been building up to give you one of those for a while.
Probably,
You
yeah.
wanted to make a lasting impression of this one. You got one shot.
And I've worn a chest protector since then.
Yeah.
What kind do you wear now?
Fox.
I also wear a Fox. But
my favorite under chest protector that I ever wore was probably just nostalgia. Was my first under protector was a EVS Evo 6, I think is what it was called. And it was a hard on the front, soft on the back, had good straps on it, and then I quit wearing that. Do you remember whenever I wore EVS and I thought I was like so technologically advanced for wearing EVS?
I remember it was right around the neck donut time.
Hey, I wore a neck donut.
No, this is post neck donut. But I remember you had a donut also.
And because we had that conversation about flipping it around.
Yeah.
And
which is the correct way to wear it?
Dude, it worked. I'm telling you, that thing rolled me over, neck stayed straight, and like my feet went straight up, rolling backwards.
Yeah.
And it made me a believer from then on.
I still think about whenever I think, okay, so like Jesse George era to me
is the coolest time in the history of dirt bikes.
Yeah. It
was a fun time.
Do you remember we were at Cahokia and you had a Honda 250F and a Honda 252 stroke, and you had the camper, and that storm rolled in. Did you guys come into me and my dad's camper? Because I can't remember.
I remember this race. I remember that time frame.
Really, really, really nasty.
Is this
storm.
whenever Mike was yelling at all the pros for being pussies?
Yeah,
because they wouldn't go down to practice.
It was the Soup Bowl weekend.
Yeah, it was when everybody ran their golf carts and pit bikes and shit through the cornfield or through the bean field. So he made us all.
Okay.
He made us all race.
Was that?
I was a C class guy.
Because and all the other classes were going down for practice, and because it was like I think a pro-am weekend or something.
It was a state race, but it was a big money deal. There was money because there was a Supercross that Friday night or something.
I just remember calling
Saturday night.
Oh,
no, there wouldn't have
call
been
yourself
Supercross.
Professionals. You guys bunch of pussies.
This was in like July, dude.
No, I know, but it was something. Okay, then maybe.
Okay,
there was one over on the other side, on the other side of the pits.
Okay, that was 05.
Okay.
What I'm talking about, this would have been like 6 or 7. This would have been the second year so the first year I was on Suzuki's, they were Golden Valley Suzuki's. The second year that I was on Suzuki's, they were Donnell's bikes.
Right.
And my bike, let's see, I was wearing MSR. No,
your Oxstar boots.
No, this was 05. This was 05.
This
was 05.
Right. You're welcome.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Because I remember we were buying top flight VP race fuel for the bikes at that time, and there was something about that fuel. The air was so wet that whenever we'd pour the fuel into the bikes, it would collect the water molecules as it went in to the gas tank. Never seen anything like this before.
Wow.
And it's a fuel that they don't even make anymore.
Probably because of that.
Probably. And the bike would not run. Like even just sitting in the pits, and they were carbureted 4-strokes, and we take the float float bowl drain off the bottom, and it was just white from water. And so we poured out the gas, and then in the bottom of the gas tank, it was totally white. The whole tank was like lined white from the water.
Wow.
So I rode Bart's 250F that day, and I fucking hated it, dude. I hated it. He had Renthal fat bars on it with the stock clamp all the way back. The levers were down. I just hated that bike, dude, so bad.
Bart's 250F?
Yeah, it was a Suzuki 250F.
Huh.
It was probably just one sitting in the box van, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It was just sitting up in there
so
for
there was
whatever reason.
And then the next year, I went up there I was there with Ryan Howe, I think. And there was also a rescheduled Spring Series race at Grain Valley that also got rained out. But then my dad and John Christopher jumped in a car and drove up there, and we raced one moto that day because the track was so bad. So there was 2 years in a row, 05 and 06, where it rained really, really bad. So maybe that was the year that I rode Bart's bike. I can't remember. No, it would have been 05. Anyway, yeah. Jesse George era to me was yellow camo shift gear. Do you remember you having that? And you had the shift kit on the back of your jerseys, and you had 2 matching Hondas that were fucking boss with black rims on the 250F.
Dude, yeah, the Jesse era to me is all of that, but it's also before then.
Well,
Branson, I wanted to
be
you, Jesse.
Branson?
Yes, Branson. What year was that? Would have been 2001.
Probably the only year I ever went.
Probably 2001.
I remember little Scott Gebkin riding in the back seat of my yellow Frontier.
Fuck yeah.
You know,
dude.
I think your mom was there too.
My mom was there because
so
that year was a whole.
Well, your sister, I was Blair there?
I don't know, because Austin Turney was with us.
Oh,
Austin Turney was there, but I don't know if my
yeah.
sister came down that race or not. I'm sure they came down.
I like that kid.
So speaking of the Yellow Frontier, one day on a Monday, Jesse called me and said, "Hey, do you want to ride today?" I was like, "Yeah, but
I'm 14. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah. I was like, I don't have any way to get around you. How old are you now?
35.
Okay, so you're 5 years older than me. So yeah, somewhere in there.
36 next
So
month.
yeah, you were about 19.
Or
And the shop was closed on the Monday.
Mm-hmm.
He called, said, "Hey, let's go ride." I was like, "Okay, well, the only place we can ride is at Grain Valley." So he drove from Independence, came over and got me at my dad's house on Belton, drove us back to Grain Valley. We rode, drove me back to Belton, and dropped me off.
Yeah.
Just a ride.
Yeah. Back when dirt bikes were super cool.
And also the track was dog shit that day.
I've rode it a couple times like that.
Where it was just dry mulch.
Yeah.
Washy.
I remember coming out and getting you, and we would go mountain biking.
We did that a number of times.
I don't know. Remember if it was both of us because we just didn't know any better, or if it was just you. But I remember you wearing a full motocross helmet.
Yep.
I was like, "This is gangster." I'm like, I hope everybody looks at us. And
it's the only helmet I had.
I love making people just look and whatever, dude. We're doing our thing
at Pink Hill Park, which is like the most rocky cross country. Landau. Yeah.
You imagine Doug Stone going by us?
Yeah.
Look at these monkeys.
And there's like one downhill section that would need a full face helmet.
Oh yeah.
Because the rest of the time you're in gear 1-1.
Yeah.
When you look back and you're like, it was probably the dog heat of summer.
Yep.
And you're breathing your hot air into your helmet right back in.
It's training. Just like when Jeff and I would drive to the track with no AC on and the windows up.
Those were the days, man.
So dumb.
So dumb. And like,
but was it? It made the experience, didn't it?
I guess so.
We remember and laughing.
I just,
dude.
Okay, so Scott and I had this ritual. We would always go ride.
We were riding a lot then too.
Yeah. Drive to the track, windows up, no AC, just sweating our balls off, listening to Formatum Dashes. And then
throw down.
Yeah. And then after the motos were over, we always went to Sonic, and you'd get a grilled cheese.
Yep.
And I would get a cheeseburger, and we both got Ocean Waters, and it was like our,
our program.
Off the program. Like, we can be bad. We're drinking ocean water.
And we had just rode for 3 hours straight or whatever, and burnt up all kinds. Man, yeah, the good old days. So much nostalgia going on.
So fun, man.
Man, the Jesse George. Dude, I still want to be you.
It's a different Jesse George era now. But it's still fun.
Dad George.
Yeah. Hey, it's just, now it's more see an opportunity that looks fun. You just go do it. Dude, life happens. Dude, 25 to 35 has gone that fast.
Really?
And, that's just the way it is.
Do you feel like you're in your prime today, though?
It's crazy. I think you're more focused today.
Yeah.
But you don't have the recovery, but you're smarter about the recovery.
I think a lot of the difference, okay, so whenever you say being more focused, is like 20 to 25, I was just like slinging dick. I couldn't think of anything other than pussy. And now, like, I have my girlfriend, and it's the same, but it's at home. She's with me all the time, so I don't have to chase the tail. It's right there, readily available. So I've noticed that, like, now that I'm not having to, like, text girls or, try to go out and chase female, it's I have so much more time to get things done.
And you have other things you want to get done.
Yeah.
Like I don't know the last time I went out or wanted to go out.
You go out all the time.
Where? When?
With your wife.
When?
You guys should have kids.
Who, the two of us?
Well, that's impossible. But
I don't know.
Who's accepting who here, fellas?
I did just see the other day a headline male having baby.
I saw that too.
Yeah, it was that dude chick.
Not a male.
Yeah, I know. Show me the plumbing and tell me it's a dude.
We
Not
are
possible.
taking a left turn.
This show will do that. It'll do that from time to time.
Man, but you know, it is funny. Like this morning, I mowed my yard. The first time, and I was happy about it. It was greener, and I'm like, it's the little things that you get happy about. It's the simple stuff.
Yeah, a good-looking yard.
Hey,
Things like that. It changes as you go.
Look what you get happy about. But you're sitting there talking about going out. Like, I enjoy going out with the fellas, and like, we get nutty and everything. But dude, I don't do shots anymore. I don't go out and get sloshed or nothing. I mean, that's way gone. I mean, I know I'm just gonna
inject this here. Jesse George is the reason that my dad accused me of being gay. Because I started wearing girls' jeans.
That was an era too.
I never jumped into that bandwagon.
Bullshit.
I didn't have girls' jeans. They weren't girls' jeans.
Yeah.
But wait.
They were super tight.
It was, what was that? About a 1 year span, maybe? But that was, you say bandwagon, it was a band thing at the time.
Yes, it was.
And it was a yeah. That was
bandanas,
every dude
jeans.
in a band, at that time
But
had girl jeans.
But let's back up and hold the phone here. Have you seen pants today? I mean,
they're skin tight.
They're skin tight.
Yeah.
That's what the chick jeans were.
Yeah.
And that's what
they didn't make them, so you had to wear chick jeans.
But
do you remember your size?
I don't, man.
I was an 11.
My girlfriend at the time was totally
Were you trying to wear her
into
pants?
it too. So
yeah.
Or whatever. So I was like, yeah. You're like whatever the chick was into.
That was like right after the Jinko era.
Yeah, isn't it funny? It was such a flip. You went from pipes to girl jeans real quick.
See, all my buddies did, all the guys we ran with, but I never wore girl jeans. I wore tight Levi dude jeans, but I never had chick jeans. I just never did. And I wore shorts all the time too.
Yeah.
So
I think, it was motorcycles and music is my thing.
100%.
Right? I mean, you're
same.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was that little era of, let's see, what years? I'm just going to go from 18 to 23. It was a good 5-year span for me of feeling untouchable, rock star-ish, blah, blah. You're just trying to live that lifestyle because you're out of high school. You're like, I'm free and in college, so you're still kind of young enough to where I'm still supported by my parents. but I can pretty much drink now, and I can go party, and I can this, and run around with bands, and I run around with motorcycles in the back of your truck being like, I'm the shit. Look at my hair. Look how many piercings I have. And
dude, you were so punk rock.
Dude, it was so fun. And but there was zero responsibilities.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I truly felt untouchable and living the rock star life for about that 5-year span. Like between running around with my buddies in that band for a while.
What band? I can't remember.
Fed Up.
That's right.
Fed Up. Holy shit. I have looked for that shit and I can't find any of it online anymore because we were talking about it and I was trying to find it and get it to him.
So
wow.
Who was in that band?
Dustin, Justin, and Matt. Dustin Lowry was the lead dude.
3-piece punk rock band.
Dude, they were good, man.
Rock.
They were super good.
Did you guys ever tour like nationally?
They ran a little bit more. They were signing with somebody, but you know how the band stories go.
Yeah.
I mean, so anyway, we ran that route and then ran around. I think right after that was I bumped A-Class, but then it was like running around fair races, and then I started, and my buddy, my buddy Steve Wagner, man, like at my ex's their property out here by Lone Jack, we had his freestyle ramps. We were hitting ramps, and then that's when
the 50s and everything else.
I was clicked in with Brian Smith and Crazy Dan Jackson.
Yeah,
we all were pretty tight, and then ran around fair races. That's and you'd all session up together, 6 to 10 of you, and do that, with the Stones, Metcalf, and it's funny we're talking about Tyler Evans. He was one of them. I remember like banging bars going to the first corner with him.
Washington County Fair.
Yes.
Yep. Big money pro race, yeah.
And my grin was ear to ear the same way, like when Pastrana and Carey Hart freaking were hitting me in Supermoto. I was just like, yes, this is the best, But you're doing that and then doing the Ramp to Ramp tour. Went around with Steve Wagner for a while with those guys and got to hang, Renner and Mike Jones and then some of the other guys, my buddy Jason Rowe. Dude, it was a 5-year of like,
that is full hog rock star lifestyle.
When you're out of town, you feel untouchable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
When you're totally not.
Right.
There's times I'm like, I should be dead. I
should have been in jail. Yeah, right.
Seriously, should have been in jail a couple times and somehow squeaked those. But dude, it's just that era, and I'm glad to have lived it. It's like we all have had our life experiences, and if I look at those experiences, if I hadn't done it, I would have wished I had, and that let me take that next step forward,
right,
into married and children,
job,
because it's like, to me, it's still crazy to me when the Jesse George of me, younger, you rock star Jesse George. Right. I wanted to be you, still want to be you, and then now
I think you want to be in him
with him. No, yeah.
We live
Don't you
close.
threaten me. We're neighbors practically. So what I'm getting at is like, Jesse's like the coolest dude ever. Want to be that guy. I want my gear to look like his. I want my bike to look like his. I want to be Jesse, okay? And then now he rolls by on a Saturday and I'm mowing the yard and him and his daughter roll up on a supermoto and park in the driveway and shoot the shit for 30 minutes. Yeah. It's just funny. It's funny how all this comes full circle.
So I've been thinking... I posted that photo on Instagram of me getting drug off on my bike by Boyer's front wheel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was a name that I was trying to remember. The guy rode Yamahas, Nick Richard.
Yeah, from down south.
Yeah, real big dude.
Guy, real big
just
guy.
The jolliest green giant there was.
Super nicest dude you could ever find.
Yep.
He was always with Hudson.
Yeah, him and Hud ran together all the time. He was a Nixa guy also. Why do you keep looking at your watch?
It's going off. I'm getting text messages.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I was trying to remember what year it was. I think Nick started riding the A-Class in 05 also.
On the Yamahas. I remember that. Yeah.
What was his number? At a 4?
24, 214,
248 maybe?
I don't know.
I remember getting pimped by Jeff and Brian Stone and those guys. Hey, move up to A-Class. Yeah, you just want more money. But that's fine.
But you did it and you made money. Or you made your money back at the very least. Dude, that's... Oh, my God. I can't say it enough times. Just fucking move up. Yeah. Just do it. What do you have to lose?
Dude, and the bar is... You see what everybody does faster. You're out there going. I mean, it's just a whole nother window. Mm-hmm. But usually you can trust the guys now.
It's a safer and it's twice as fast and it's safer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think oftentimes, okay, if Jeff Crutcher 2019 raced Jeff Crutcher 2004, who would win? And I honestly think that, man, I wish I would have brought you a... Did you bring your mufflers koozie by chance?
I don't know. I ran into the... I called that guy at the shop, and he wouldn't answer the phone.
Yeah, 420-6969?
I think that was it.
That was the number. You did ring it.
But I got some blank envelope in the mail, and it had this koozie. So nice. I feel so lucky to have been given it.
Been gifted the koozie.
Yeah.
Only a select few have that.
Yeah. Woo! Those with $5.69.
Oh no! Oh, I got you. I won't crack it. Oh, yeah. I mean, all right. A little splashy action.
Yeah, nice.
So nice.
So, what was I saying? Do you remember?
We were talking about...
Nick Richard.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Dude, those were the days whenever there was, no exaggeration, 30 A riders almost every weekend.
Right.
And it makes you wonder, okay, is that because... Obviously, motocross racing was a lot larger. And I try to think back. 2003, 2004, 2005. If you take the recession out of the picture and us living in post-recession world where going out and doing things is not as important as having things that, like cell phones, computers, high-speed internet connection, big screen TVs, that kind of stuff. So I think it's a definite cultural change between the two eras, and that has to be taken into consideration. But you go to the motocross track on a practice day, and there's still 150, 200 riders, just like there used to be.
I called Jeremy Eubanks this morning because they're at Kingsville for the state race, and I wanted, how's the turnout? What's going on? What's it look like? He said he had to wait in line for 20 minutes to get in the gate.
Awesome.
He says it's a thick, heavy turnout.
Good. And for practice.
Right.
Okay, so there's going to be 150, 200 bikes at the track today. Okay. How many people are going to ride practice today and not going to go back and race tomorrow?
What, you want to say half? No.
I bet it's half.
And then another half a different chunk of riders will come tomorrow.
Now here's the thing about practice day entries and race day entries. If you have 200 practice entries and then 300 race day entries, how many guys are going and only racing one class? 30?
Oh yeah, almost none. Yeah.
Everybody races two classes.
Right.
So really then you actually have 150, 275 actual bikes on the track on Sunday. So you actually had more riders on Saturday than on Sunday. So how do we incentivize people to race on Sunday? Is it the fact that people don't want to spend 12 hours at the dirt bike track?
That's probably a big part of it.
I think that's above all, that's the number one part. Second place to that is that the average motorcycle at the track, if you take 80cc and below, the big bikes, the average bike is a 450. And that's between vet riders, big bike riders, etc. There's more 450s at the track than there's anything else. Well, that means the tracks have to be built for a 450. Well, that means bigger jumps, longer straightaways, more
turns, whatever,
more point and shoot type, obstacles. So, is it that the track owners are building the tracks a little more aggressively and therefore scaring off more people? Because really, it's not even hardly motocross anymore. It's fast supercross because the bikes are so fast. So if you go out and you can hit every jump with your eyes closed in second gear, it's really not very much fun. That's the whole reason that I got my 125. Dude, every jump that I do is hard.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
And because of that, it makes the track more fun. Every track that I go to is like fucking impossible. And it's so much fun. Like that at Bar to Bar, whenever I was doing that double in the roller section, and you guys are like, how are you doing that?
Right.
I'm just
wishing yourself over it.
Yeah, I'm on a wing and a prayer to make my way
You're
over
committed.
those. Yeah, exactly.
There's a point you have to commit.
Yeah.
So I rode that one lap on Brandon's 450.
Right.
And it's so weird because it's like there's no hit. The power just
keeps coming. It doesn't ever stop.
Dude, I did I think I clicked into third gear one time and I was like, this sucks. It felt like, and the way the bike felt and the noises that it was making, and like trying to visualize in my head, how can I analogize this? And the only thing that came into mind, is like, imagine having imagine having an old TV that has static on it, and you just have that static, and you just turn the volume up. It just gets louder. That's the way it felt like I was on a 450. Like it was there. The power was there. You just turn the volume up on it. Like there was nothing to it. It just is a simple. It does it. Yeah. It just does it. Yeah. And I was like, dude, this fucking sucks. I don't have to use a clutch. I don't have to have any technique whatsoever to ride this bike at speed. And I was like, this is not fun at all. Plus it was top heavy and awkward and just cumbersome. I didn't even feel like, I felt like I was on a wave runner.
Right.
Is what it felt like. That's what it felt like to me.
I admire your guys' technique. I never had the greatest of techniques. But that is the exact reason I got rid of my 450. I don't know how many years ago this was. But I'd go ride And well, I thought I rode a 450 decent.
The last 450 you had was what, an 08?
I think it was my supermoto bike, my RMZ 450.
Yeah.
Because I just swapped that thing back and forth. But I held on to that thing for a while, and then I was like, oh, I'll get back into riding after I had sold it. I got back on 250F, and I was like, holy crap.
You actually have to ride it?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed how lazy I got.
Yeah.
Oh,
and because you can get so lazy, you can almost sit up more in turns, and I mean, because your technique, and that's why I loved it.
As soon as you make a mistake, you just turn the throttle and it makes up.
That's
for
what
it.
I loved about the 250F. I'm like, dude, and you felt like you were having to ride it. And you know what? If you made a mistake, it was accented, if you will. You know what I mean?
Amplified.
Yeah, amplified. That's the word I'm looking for. So I did that. Well, I finally got to the point where I'm like a 250F, and let's see, I was 185 or whatever is what I am. So at times I wanted a little bit more power. It's like, that's kind of why I was like, oh, let's go 252 stroke, because I know I have it a little more. But again, your technique has to be there. You watch old Supercrosses, they're slower, but look at all the mistakes and passing that are getting done on those. Right. That, it's like, you get in the arguments of the 2-stroke for 4-stroke, and everybody always wants stuff from the past, but at the same time, dude, it made mistakes, whether it was the tracks, whether it was the bikes. You look at old Supercrosses, and man, it's like people make mistake. Now they can't make that section.
Yeah.
Right.
And so much passing.
And now
happening.
the 450, like we've seen guys like, I'm dead stopping to turn up to go jump the Supercross triple.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's at Arlington. There was only one triple in the track, and it was the one. So the start straight and then curved around left. Well, that triple, had triple long, and then there was that roller that went into the big right-handed bowl before the wall. Really cool section, but that triple had this tiny little double about as long as this plastic table. The face of it was really glassy. Mm-hmm. Aaron Plessinger came over it, almost like landed completely sideways off of the gas, off that tiny little double, waited for the bike to get straight, and no exaggeration, 3 feet before the face, just hop all the way over the triple. I'm like, that's fucking lame.
See, and I used to only ride 250Fs. Yeah. When I kind of came back to racing after the first of however many shoulder injuries I've had, 250Fs was all I had. I had a couple of them, and I had a race bike and a practice bike, and that's what I raced in the 450 class and everything. Well, I went to the 450 because I got sick of fucking getting smoked on the 250F, like getting just roosted and beat up on, and being,
and you came back in the B class too, right?
No, when I came back from my first big shoulder injury, I moved straight to A.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, and
I learned a whole lot in the first couple of A races.
And you were number 40 on a Honda?
On a Honda. And then after that, I went to Cowie's and was number 40.
11?
10. And so I ran the 250F because you could ride it in both classes. Yeah, okay, great, whatever. We'll get back in the swing of things. And then it was like, well, I'm going through the turn faster than these guys, but as soon as we come out of it, I'm just getting eaten alive.
Smoked, yeah.
And it was killing. And I got to the point where I was getting aggravated, so I got a 450 later. This is like 2013 or something. And
were you on Cowie's when you had your first 450?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I had a 450 back in like 07. Before I got hurt, I had a 450. I was like 16 riding one, which I probably shouldn't have been. But you couldn't ride a 250F in the 450 class then.
Isn't that so stupid?
Yeah. So you had to have the separate bikes.
Yeah.
And but anyways, that's why I ended up going. And now, like, if you want to go racing and be competitive, you have to have, I guess, unless you're in like the C class or something, you can run. Anybody that's winning a 250C or a 450C class championship at Loretta's is riding a 250F.
Yeah, so it's funny that you say that, because if you go to like local races, it seems like in beginner and novice, the 450 class, half the entries are on 250Fs.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can buy one bike and race both classes.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow,
I have mixed feelings on that.
Yeah. And so now it just depends. Like if you want to go ride the 450 Pro class and go do the qualifier bar to bar next weekend. If you're on a 250F, you got to really be working to compete with somebody that's just as fast on a 450.
But on the other hand,
it kind of goes back and forth.
Seems like every year in the years past at those area regionals and qualifiers, typically the guys that are winning the 450 class are on Team Green Kawasaki's.
Right, 250Fs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, or the guy who won Loretta's last year, or who I think Derek Drake won Freestone this week, and he rides a KTM 250F.
Yep.
So
then it just goes back and forth. Then it needs to be 250 and open.
It is.
It is.
That's just literally what they call it.
Well, it's called open.
If they call it
Sport.
450, I think it needs to be 450.
In the pro class, you have 250 Pro Sport and Open A Pro Sport.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is that way now.
Touche.
But
I think of the exaggerated of, I'm like, if you're going to call a class 250, be on 250s. If you're going to call it 450, be on 450s. If you're going to call it open, okay, now it's an open class. Because I just go to the exaggerated mark of, okay, we're going to have a 500 class. Well, you put a bunch of some bitches on CR 500s and KX 500s, they're going to have a hard time. But that's the whole point.
Right.
We're racing 500s.
Right. And now you got to
get some fast ass on a 250F smoking them. Well, yeah, because they're wrestling a 500.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Right.
That's a valid argument.
Right.
You know?
It's a different animal.
So something that Scott and I talked about with John Paul, we went to Topgolf and talked to him about the KMCS 2019 series. And which Jeeps is this weekend?
Jeeps is practice is today.
Something that we talked about, and it was just a theory that I have come up with, and I've seen people kind of try to figure out a way to explain this on the internet. So I've thought, all right, eventually we're going to get to the point to where all amateur tracks have transponders, because the price on transponders is going down. We've got new applications and things like Lap King with their little $150 transponder. So as things become more technologically advanced with timekeeping, I think a lot of tracks will go to the transponder system and get rid of the old trackside program. I think trackside is slowly, on its way out.
It'll become a record-keeping type program instead. Yeah.
So what I would like to see, and this is just a theory, and it would be hard to police because you'd be working off of practice times, but to almost quote unquote professionalize the day by grouping, okay, so you go out and practice the way that it is now. You have 450 A and B. You run your practice sessions the same way that you would normally, okay? Then, when it comes to race time, you do it by brackets, okay? So, in the big bike class, let's say you have big bike, vet, and beginner, or something like that. All right, so let's say you have 150 big bike entries, and everybody went out and rode their practice, and you got your best lap time. You take the top 33% of those lap times and put them into one class. You take the next 33% and put them in the next class. So you'd have like
a skills 1, skills 2, skills
exactly.
3.
Yeah. But you could call it A, B, C. You could call it whatever you want. Then you get rid of the whole 250F, 450, 252 stroke, 125 two-stroke. That argument is out. Okay. It's regardless of whatever bike you ride, it's what is your lap time, which qualifying lap time. Okay, so then you get put into the bracket of everybody. So you've got 30 guys on the gate in class 1, 30 guys on the gate in class 2, so on and so forth. You figure out, okay, well, if we have 30 gates that work, let's fill the gates. 30 guys. Then we're not worried about sand. There's no sandbagging in a perfect world, because guys would probably go out and just ride around and practice.
Why wouldn't you just cruise and practice?
Exactly. Yep. So there would have to be an incentive of laying down a heater. I don't know what it would be, or you go out. I don't know. It's hard to think about. Figuring out
trying to professionalize it, but the whole idea is
perfect way
to be amateur. Mm-hmm. So you just have to structure. You have to structure your classes. It's not. I don't think. I mean, timing it would be great. I think, but I think you have to change the structure of the classes.
Oh yeah, dude. And, you'd have to.
No, I mean, just even if you didn't do the timing thing, mm-hmm. and we're talking about a way to make it fair reasons, and you change the way your skill levels are broke up, or you change the way you run the motos, something like that, to where it doesn't take all day long to do it. There
is absolutely no reason whatsoever to have 22 motos.
unless you have a giant amount of entries.
But then that's a 2-day event.
Right, yeah, a 2 or 3 day event. Like, hey, I looked at Freestone. Did you see the entries?
I saw huge entries.
Huge entries. They had divisions in the Open Pro Sport class.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And a full gate in the 250 Pro Sport class.
And then last weekend, because there was 2, air quotes, amateur nationals stacked up on top of each other, 30 miles apart.
Heavy with the air quotes.
Yeah, very heavy with the air quotes. There were 6 guys in each class. It's so overwatered. And Mike has talked about this in RC racing. There are all these races that are nationals, and nobody shows up to them because it's just another local race with different trophies. And I kind of feel that's the way the race at Oak Hill and Underground both were, is they're local races. But the thing is, the local guys know that, because it's a national, all these fast people are going to show up, so they just don't go.
Right. They don't go, or they go to the one, the opposite, or the other, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you have 185 entries at a national.
Right.
So dumb.
Yeah.
So getting back to my bracket, time bracket thing. There would have to be a way to incentivize people to go fast in practice. There would have to be a way to make it fair for everyone. And, obviously it wouldn't be fair to put have a vet class and have me and Heinz Maurer in the same class.
Right.
So you'd have like
Age
vet 1,
group or something.
vet 2, something like that. 251, 252, that kind of stuff. Because that's how they do it in RC car racing, and it works. It works perfectly fine. People don't sandbag in RC car racing.
Yeah. I don't know. The other part is you got to get people to show up, and I don't even know if that's the answer to getting people to show up.
More track time.
I mean, obviously more track time, but it's like you said, we don't have 30 pros showing up. Tomorrow at Kingsville, what do you want to bet? There's 6?
6 tops.
Yeah. There's probably 6, and at KMCS, there's probably
5.
6,
Yeah.
5. Yeah.
But will it go that way if people know they're going to go and there's going to be 30 people on my gate because I know I'm going to be probably in this time? Are they going to be like, that scares the shit out of me? Some people like the fact, I think, I'm going to go there and there's going to be 6 people with me.
I guess.
And we're not going to get in a big first corner pile up because that scares the shit out of people. When people watch this stuff on TV, like guys I work with or whatever, they're like, how did you used to do that? And that's like the scary part to them. It's not so much the jumping anymore.
I think
it'd scare off some of the older guys.
You know what I think we're talking about? A generational difference between people that wanted to compete and people that don't really want to.
Yeah.
Right.
The idea of being a motocross racer is really...
You want the image.
It's sexy. No. It's a sexy thing to be a motocross racer. How many people go to the motocross track and ride and think in their head that they're a motocross racer, but they don't even actually like riding. They like the idea of having the truck and the bike and the parts and the cool accessories.
Stop talking about me back in the day like that. No. What it makes me think of is like guys like Rick Tuning and guys that would come out to a state race or something, but then they might be like, man, I don't... because say the vet 50 plus guys, they're the same core group of guys. They know that
they have raced for the last 40 years.
They know they're not going to take each other out, and we're here and we want to ride because here, and not to take a 180 turn here, but go back to your practice day and race day. I'm not going to show up on race day. I'm kind of over it.
You've been doing
it's the all day,
long enough.
Right, but the practice day, yeah. But you know why I show up on that practice day, honestly, is because it's the only track practicing. There's not the weekday practicing anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
And whenever you were saying earlier about us mountain biking in Green Valley, it was shit.
Just like that.
Yeah.
I miss the dry, marbly shit days. Just because, dude, we were riding.
You were riding.
And you had the opportunity to, and it sucks that the honor system of Kingsville is gone because people screw that up. But man, you'd go out there and 10 of you are practicing. But you know what? The track was maybe getting some income in there. Guys are getting to ride, but now there's less opportunity to go ride unless you know people with practice tracks.
Man, and even back in our day, you'd have somebody with a practice track, but it wasn't prepped.
Right.
Yeah.
And you would still go burn lap after lap after lap after lap.
And those were sketchy jumps.
Yeah, scary.
Sketchy.
Scary
They're 3
places
feet
to ride.
wide with marbles on each side in one line.
Because Uncle Bill had a skid loader and came out and built some shit,
Dude, there was nothing sketchier than Bob Richter's jumps at the Arnold's.
Yeah. Yep.
Bob Richter built a ski ramp face and a ski ramp landing, and there was no medium.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You made it or you didn't.
Yeah.
And that's where you learn. I mean,
that's where you learn to overjump.
Well, that, and I've always done the whole thing. If there's, on freestyle ramps, it's kind of how I'd use the gauge. But you'd freaking jump off it about halfway up to the side of the landing, because those aren't handy either. And I'd go follow Steve Wagner over a 70-foot setup, and oh God, oh shit,
because you're thinking motocross where you race into the face of it, but in freestyle
there's nothing.
Total opposite.
Oh.
You ride up to it, idle speed at the bottom there.
Those are the jumps from back then, though. But anyway, going back to that whole unprepped or practice days, it's just, I think the reason you see those high numbers is that's the only time to ride, but somebody doesn't want to race.
Yeah.
And Talon texted me yesterday about going riding, and honestly, I'm like, I'm not trying to be a cheap ass. It's like, but dude, it's gate fee now. And it's a high practice fee, which I'm cool with, man. I'm all about supporting the local tracks, but it ends up being, say, $37 for me to go ride maybe 3 times if they're real busy, which I hope so. It's like, but I'm out there for 4 hours or 5 hours to ride 3 times.
Yeah, right.
And it's hard. That takes the whole day away from me when I got other stuff to do with the family and stuff. I don't have race day time to ride 3 times. And that's why I'm thankful to say Brian Trout opening up Valley, and as much as people want to bitch or whatever, dude, that's helping keeping just the weekend warriors alive so little Billy can take a CRF 230 and ride his mini or non-jump practice. And maybe it's not some crazy prep job or whatever, but you know what? This guy's getting the experience of riding. You remember back in the day, like I remember some Wednesday night practices. One guy, I think he was a chiropractor, my dad's or something. I remember him going out on an XR400 or something, seeing his headlight. But you know what? He could do that.
Yeah. There was a place to go do it at.
Yep.
And that guy was riding his dirt bike.
And that's the hardest part right now. Is like, I remember we've talked about this before. Like when I worked at Dell's, guys would want to come in and buy a side-by-side or buy a four-wheeler. It's probably the same thing now. Okay, now where can I go ride this at?
Finger Lakes.
Finger Lakes, maybe.
Or
I don't even think Chadwick, and that's closed down. You can't even go to Deepwater anymore. I mean, where do you go ride? So Merwin is back. Ish. Yeah. But I mean, how many times is it really going to be open?
Right.
KC Moto Adrenaline is back, but how many times is it really going to be open? Kingsville will go to, and Kingsville they've been around forever, and you always know what you're going to get, and that's why people go there. You know what you're going to get. They're open when they can be, but Valley used to be open on Wednesdays. You used to have more options or more times to ride. And right in Kansas City, that doesn't, unless you have a track or somebody has one, or unless you have your own or somebody has one that you can go get on.
In this situation, it's which came first, chicken or the egg? Which happened first? Tracks closing down because riders weren't showing up, or riders didn't have somewhere to ride, so then they didn't. Which one is it? So then the rider turnouts went down, causing the tracks to get less entry. Right. It seems like it's a catch-22 of which one happened first: less riders or tracks not open, or less riders because the tracks aren't open, therefore making less riders.
So I don't know. Right. I mean, what if you wanted to get into the sport and you wanted to go up the road to Donnell's and buy your son a DRZ 50 or what? I don't even know if they make those. A CRF 50, 70, whatever.
DRZ 70s.
An entry-level motorcycle, and you want to take him riding, and you want to get him going somewhere. Where would you go? You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's say he's 12 years old and is fit for 150.
Yeah, 150. Yeah.
All right. Pump the brakes. Got to buy a truck first.
Well, no, I'm not even getting into that. I'm just saying
that's where
everybody's got a truck now, though.
There are a lot of people that have trucks, but like that's that's the number one. That is the biggest investment into motocross, is the fact that you have to have something
your
to
transportation.
Yeah, you have to have something to get
hitch
your bike
haulers
there.
and stuff.
I know, Jesse, but there are a lot of people that they don't know that. They just think, well, I have a minivan. I got no way to get a dirt bike.
But
to
okay, I'm talking
True.
a kid that dad never raced, mom nobody ever raced, but hey, they saw it on TV and like, oh man, that's cool. You know what? For Christmas, I'm going to get Junior a motorcycle, and he plays basketball. He doesn't even know anything about it. They think it's cool. They went to Hale Arena and watched the race. Cool. I'm gonna get him one for Christmas. Okay, here comes Christmas. I have a truck, an SUV. Let's just say that's not an issue. I go and buy this XR 100 at CRF 125, whatever it is that they make now.
Yeah.
Entry level motorcycle. Okay, I live in a neighborhood. Now what? Now what do I do? You know what I mean?
Yep.
That is in Kansas City,
first world problems.
Missouri. In the state of Missouri, I think that is the biggest obstacle to overcome.
Can you imagine if we had an actual OHV park around Kansas City?
Yeah.
It would be unbelievable.
It would be so big for all the dealers. Number one,
it would be worth them investing into it. Maybe we need to do something. Maybe the three of us need to get together and do something.
So my old shift, I ended up, I don't want to say I got the guys to, but got them excited enough where they bought 3-4 bikes. We all made a day trip of going to Columbia.
Right.
Because you know what? We could jump on the motocross track that they've never been on, and it's completely safe for them. And then we went and burned some trails, and then we came back and rode on the motocross track, and I did all this on my 250X.
Right.
That's why I kept my 250X too. It's like it's completely capable of being on the motocross track for anything I want to do. For any tracks around here. Oh, well,
right.
I don't want to say
you can make it work. You can make it work.
Like at Columbia, I jumped everything on that thing.
Right.
And it did fine. And at the same time, my buddies who'd never set a wheel, on a track, got to get their feet wet.
Right.
Without showing up on a big profile weekend because it's the only time. And that's intimidating, dude.
Right, yeah.
Even me, it's like
the first one of the year, you got 200 people there, and you're like, oh man,
dude, and you got kids that have been doing your camps, they're just ripping, or going all places and have private tracks, and
you're going to the track and you don't even know which direction you're going.
Dude, I can count on one hand. I'll give the benefit of the doubt and say 2 hands, maybe, of knowing people at the track anymore.
Right.
Which is fine, but long gone are the days of. It seems like Billy Bob showing up with little son Jack in his beat up truck, and he's got duct tape holding the rear fender on and zip ties, and everybody is just intimidating looking because they all got the gear, they all got the graphics, they all got everything. So you come in, never having ridden before, and are these all factory riders?
Right.
Yeah. You remember the the nice trailers back when with us growing up.
Oh yeah.
It was like, who's that?
Oh yeah.
And it seemed like sometimes
it was either Junior was really,
island.
really good or really fast, or he wasn't good at all.
And money can buy a lot of things, but it's just, it's probably intimidating coming in here not riding. I don't know, especially on these big weekends. Even me going out there in the AB practice, I'm like, shoot, B kids are hauling the mail,
right.
And but believe me, I don't. No offense, I don't want to be in the CD practice.
Right, exactly.
I'm not going out there, But
I think that's the rule of jump or no jump.
Yep. I think it's a great rule.
Yeah,
it's a great rule. But
I don't know. That's
something I really like doing. This is totally random. Is whenever. So I listen to all of our podcasts afterward. Pretty much as soon as it gets posted, I'll listen to it on the way home. And then, so the whole time that I was just in the bathroom, whatever it was that you guys were talking about, I didn't hear. So it's like I get to hear it for the first time, on the podcast.
There you go.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Also, at the school on Sunday, there was a dad. His kid rode a 50. I don't remember which one it is. He was kind of a shorter guy, had a really kind of a soft face with a little bit of
Rode the White Cobra.
Perhaps, I don't know.
Axton is his name.
That sounds about what the kid's name would be. And anyway, he came up to me randomly while we were out on the track, and he's like, "Hey, don't mind if my boy's staring at you." I was like, "Okay." He said, "And don't judge my parenting, but him and I listen to all your podcasts."
I love it.
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." He said, "Dude, whenever you were ripping on Jay, my boy was laughing so hard. He don't like him." I was like, "Okay, cool."
How many arena crosses are there? It's still going.
You mean series what? Or
No, the
Nitro?
the Nitro series is still going. I know Kevin and them raced last night. So I just am. What? That's so many. I guess I'm not used to
I'll tell you what,
the series being that big or that many people following it around.
On that kind of thing, man, outside looking in.
Last one is okay, so this weekend is in Cookeville, Tennessee. Then April 6th is the final one.
Oh, so it's almost over.
In Lebanon.
Getting close.
Yeah.
Outside looking in, man, I mean, I like seeing what you guys are doing, keeping stuff going with your motocross camp and you with all the OTB stuff. Dude, tell me how you ended up getting linked in with the Supercross deal.
Oh, whenever I went and did Inside Track,
man. Yeah.
It was just 100% Andy Boyer. Andy worked for Feld, works for Feld as a social media guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy called me and he's like, "Hey, we're wanting to do this thing that's like, we need somebody that's cool. We need somebody that's really..." Shut up, Scott. "We need somebody that's like very well versed in motocross and is curious." He's like, he's like, number one, nobody in the office wants to hire somebody off of YouTube, because they thought about getting like a YouTube star to go and do this shit.
Yeah.
And then he's like,
Clueless.
Yeah, it would be terrible.
It wouldn't work. Yeah.
He said, so we needed somebody in the industry that was, that knew, but didn't, couldn't be found elsewhere.
Right.
It's like, so he's like, you're the only person I can think of that would be down for it.
I enjoyed those, and I tell you what, I still now and then, like downtime at the station, I might click one up.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It takes me back to the era of going to St. Louis.
Right.
And you're exploring, dude. It was everything. It was everything from... Did you ever see my old post back in 04? What year was that, man? But I made like a fake lanyard.
Oh yeah, I remember you post. Yeah, I remember reading your post about it.
And I would fold it like I would put it halfway in one of my pit shirts. But man, it was like the adventure, man. Like you brought the adventure of. It's not just Supercross, like. Dude,
the whole experience.
It's the experience. It's not just the dang race,
dude.
Right.
It's the hotel and travel with your friends. I mean, that's what this whole venture is. And I feel like, I guess me being out of it, but
it's almost like when you go to a race now, it starts all over again.
Man, I don't know if my phone being broken has been a pain, but it's also been awesome. Because I found, dude, I'm paying attention more. I didn't realize how much I fidget with crap.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're talking about YouTube sensations or whatever. Like Stars, my kids will be... do
they watch kids?
My girls will be watching. I'm like, dude, stop watching them live life.
Do it.
And you
They watch kids play with toys. Other kids play with toys.
And and it's like, I felt like that Inside Track, like kind of... Because I don't know how kids travel these days, but it seems like in looking at their phones or watching movies instead of look out the window,
watching it all go
check
by.
out the world.
Well, the thing is whenever you're driving through Kansas in a cornfield, there ain't nothing to see.
There's not much there.
Yeah, but what did we get to do?
What
did we get to do?
Oh, I drooled over motocross action.
Yeah,
I listened to Oh, you mean back then?
Yeah, I'm talking when we were 16, 15, before we could drive.
I remember
15.
pulling open the Rand McNally map. My dad taught me to, read one of those, and you just kind of, where are we?
That's really funny you say that, because I was telling my girlfriend the other day, she's like, how do you know where everything is? Yeah. And I was like, you don't understand the amount of hours I sat in the co-pilot seat of my dad's 4 Wins.
Yeah.
And then the one that we had after that, the Expedition. Yeah. You don't understand. I would just sit there and look at the map. I had nothing else to do. So I'd, figure out how far is this town from this town? How, what's the traveling distance from here to there? What is it on the road? And then what is it as the crow flies? Which is It's just what you do whenever you have a lot of free time. That was pre-phones.
It's so funny because kids come to my schools and stuff and do all this, and some kids, they watch their iPad all the way the 3-hour drive to wherever it is. Burley reads. He's not allowed. I don't know if he doesn't want to or they don't let him. He reads books, and he pulled up to the track one time and he's reading a book. I'm like, I don't know the last time I saw a kid read a book. Let alone every time I see it, it just blows my mind that that's just what he does on the way to the track. And I just think it's so funny compared to the rest of us that just sit here and
that kid is going to be cursed with being an intellectual when he's older. It's the worst.
Much Jeffrey Crutcher.
Tread lightly over there.
Yeah.
No.
Especially, I mean, more so in motocross. Being partially intelligent is both a blessing and a curse because you think about things a lot more than you should. Like me. Whenever people come up to me and say stuff to me, I'm just like, why the fuck are you talking to me? And I don't want people to not. Okay, because I enjoy talking to people. But there are people out there that only add me on. Namely, what kills me is after I have a really good weekend, bar to bar, Riverside, whatever. If I win a moto or do something like that, I'll get all these random friend requests on Facebook or follows on Instagram. Like, who the fuck are these people? And then I'll look at them and then I realize, oh, this guy lives in Waterloo, Iowa, or this guy lives in Dubuque, or this guy lives in Fort Myers, or what. Okay, the point is, these people, they're people at the track. They hear my name over the PA after winning a moto or whatever, and it's like, I guess they just want to know who I am or, where I'm from, what it is that I do. And then they don't talk to me. And I'm like, it's like, oh, you just want to know what I'm doing because I'm good at riding a dirt bike.
It's like being Facebook friends with somebody. You see them, you're right next to them, 2 feet away.
Yeah.
And they don't look at you or say hi or anything. You're like, hey.
It happens all the time, yeah.
Oh, I mean, okay. I guess we're computer friends.
Yeah.
Like everybody's friends with Tom from MySpace.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, oh my God, I was driving to work the other day, and I guess MySpace is totally gone now. Like everything 2010 and previous.
My Facebook music, or my MySpace page of music is gone.
Well, no, they were talking about it on the radio. I guess they had some server glitch, and everything from, I'm just going to pick a date, 2008, which I think it was dead by then anyways, to the beginning is gone. All the they said art, music. They said the biggest thing they lost was music, but it was just something I heard on the radio. They had some computer glitch. I mean, MySpace I think is dead. Go to it, see if it.
It's
Tom. Is it a picture of Tom? Your top 8.
Gone.
The crazy part is that kind of stuff can and will happen to our current social media, dude. Facebook. Have you guys been paying attention to what's been going on Facebook? So. Zuckerberg has publicly stated he's going to change Facebook entirely. He wants to get rid of the newsfeed. He wants to change the entire purpose of it to being an encrypted messaging service. So like the most secure messaging service that there is out there. He wants to get rid of sharing stuff, status updates, all that shit. He wants it gone. I think the guy has a terribly guilty conscience about what he has done to
society.
To society, yeah, by making it worse, by making us divisive, extremely divisive, or divided, by offering this service that caters to your worst emotions: arguing, bickering, hatred, bigotry, sexism, so on and so forth. It wants you to be pissed off because the thing is, the algorithms, the computers figured out the more negative stuff that pops up into your newsfeed, the more time you spend on your newsfeed. So like people that are constantly sharing happy things, saying happy things, actually connecting with their friends, they spend much less time on Facebook than the people who are upset, mad, angry.
Because they're happy.
Yeah.
And they're doing other stuff. Yeah. They're doing other stuff being happy.
Yeah. And so they figured out that actually Facebook is contributing to it. and it's making our interactions with people much worse and worse because, like we just said, you're computer friends with somebody you don't even know. I'll have guys come to me and they'll come, hey man, I saw that thing you shared, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. What? And oh, this was a couple months ago. I'm like, oh, so you've been following me on Facebook for like a year and you've never talked to me in my life? It's kind of weird. It's a weird thing to have happen. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine what it's like. I'm not saying I'm famous, but I can only imagine what it's like for people that actually are famous to constantly be barraged by people that you don't know, that know your life.
Yeah, but you also have to know what you've created.
Yeah.
You're marketing yourself.
Yeah.
So you want those. I mean, so that's creating that web, So
it's a brand, your own brand, the Jeff Crutcher brand, and the idea is to grow that brand for X, Y, Z reasons, or no matter who you are.
That's why I've ventured over to Instagram.
Yeah.
Like if I'm doing a little social stuff, because I like all that stuff to keep tabs on my friends from abroad the country.
Because you have a joint account with your wife on Facebook, don't you? And do you ever even look at it?
Oh yeah. I mean, totally. But there's so much negativity on Facebook. Like Instagram just seems like this is what
it's cool the shit you want to follow. It's like Twitter.
I just want to see what people are up to. Like, oh, dude, that's cool, man.
Here's the problem with Instagram, and this is more so with teens, younger people. Okay, so like my day-to-day life is not that interesting. I enjoy my life, but it's not that interesting. Mm-hmm. So what do I post? Only the very most interesting things.
Right, it's a highlight reel. Instagram is a highlight reel, and that's the idea.
So then whenever I get on, okay, let's say if I'm Joe Schmo and I look at my Instagram, I'm like, wow, this dude fucking has an interesting life. He does cool stickers for people, and he's going racing, and gets to do this and that. But the truth of the matter is, 99% of my life is boring as fuck.
Right.
It's the 1% of my life that I post about online.
Yep.
And but it's hard to remember that whenever you're looking at people online. And you're like, fuck, man, this guy lives such a cool life. I want to be like that guy.
See, and that's like, to me, I guess I don't follow a lot of people like that, a lot of stuff like that. I guess I don't think I do. Like, who's the guy that has Ignite? Dan Blazarian.
Yeah.
Like, I don't follow him just because of that, like that reason anyway, or just shit like that.
He's too cool.
Yeah, like it's just
his
like
life is too
okay,
cool.
like it's not real.
Do you still need the Wi-Fi password, by the way?
Oh,
Did you get it?
Sure. No, I didn't get it.
On his non-working phone. It's about time for an upgrade there, big dog.
Oh, no, this is my old one.
Oh, this is the backup for your...
Oh, but my new one, my new one's an iPhone 6S. So.
Oh, that's what I got. We're good. Dude, we're cool.
Mine's
a 5, man. I would have kept it if going to Xfinity Mobile. They don't do iPhone 5 or the 5.
Mine's a 8S Plus. I like a nice big one.
Well, yeah, we know.
I like a headphone jack.
Did you get it?
Sorry, I'm working on it.
Oh, yeah, this one I have the little lightning converter, but whatever, it doesn't kill me. I do miss. I liked it whenever the aux cable or attachment was on the top of the phones, not the bottom.
Yeah. Am I gonna have to try both these? Is this or this?
I think it's the one with the numbers.
I'm trying that one. Drum roll.
Dun dun dun.
Crap.
Not it. Well, you know what the other one is.
Okay. So anyways,
cool. Oh my god, my girlfriend's so hot. Send me a cute little selfie. What did you want? Oh, I'm gonna keep talking.
Oh yeah. So here on the whole social media thing though with the Facebook, I think what has cracked me, obviously with the negativity, and then people are showing their cards, if you will. Like I do like it for that, where I'm like, well, I'm just gonna. Go with this type of person you are now. Like you act this way, and you're this way.
You follow 987 different people.
Probably. But I bet 900 of them are motocross stuff.
So just a mere example of this year, like Grain Valley's grown like crazy. Our city of Grain Valley.
Right, house is going up like crazy.
The schools. They've had to change the boundaries, the school district boundaries, or district, but to the elementary schools. Therefore, almost 300 kids are getting moved out of their current schools, my kids included, to go to a different school. So we've one of them's done half their school career or thus far. elementary, and such is life. Change happens. That's fine. Well, but they threw out the school district boundary, adjustment deal for everybody to see that's affected. So all these parents are up in arms. Facebook's going crazy. We have the neighborhood app going nuts. And I'm like, listen, go to the meeting, because they had meetings and they had a community presentation, if you will. I mean, it was kind of late in the process, so I wasn't happy about that. But anyway, parents are bitching. Cool. All over Facebook. All over blah, blah, blah. We go to the first community presentation.
Nobody said a word.
There's probably about 20 of us parents total. I'd stayed up all night trying to do readjustments because I thought it was sloppily done. And, they had a group of from all the elementary schools with 2 parents from each school together, supposed to represent us, air quote. And not. So we get there. Like I said, the community meeting, about 20 people. Whole bunch of bitching on Facebook.
500 comments on Facebook, and 20 people showed up at the meeting. So
then, say next day, there was a school board meeting. Guess who the only mofo that was there?
You.
This guy. The only one. And at that point, I lost a bunch of hope for a bunch of people. Then after it all happens and I tell them, yeah, well, I tried doing this. I presented this. I would talk to the president of the school board this and blah, blah, blah. All these contacts I'd made. But I was kind of the lone man standing. Well, I wish I had known it was going to affect us all this much. And this, really? Man, there was a lot of bitching happening on Facebook and this and that. But when it comes to meet the wolf at the door,
yep,
nobody's there.
Okay, here's a story for you. There is my girlfriend works at a salon in Lawrence, and there's 2 apartment neighborhoods just to the south of where her place is at, and both of them are lower income places. So there's quite a few cats around the neighborhood over there because there's a lot of dumpsters and people just they don't really take care of their animals. And there's a couple cats that live in the sewage, like the drainage culvert, whatever it is.
Storm sewer.
Storm sewer, yeah, thank you. Okay, so there's a couple cats that live in the storm sewer down there because nobody gets their cats fixed and neutered over there.
Kansas.
Right. So Aubrey just happened to be on one of the Lawrence Facebook pages and saw that someone was missing a cat. And she's like, hey, that cat looks identical to one of the cats that lives in the storm sewer over here. And and the thing is, you can get the cats out of there. I mean, you just stand over there with treats and the cats will come out. This was right around the time that we had those really, really deep cold flashes about a month ago where it was, highs of like single digits.
Right.
So Aubrey got the cat out and then took a photo of it and said, I can't remember who posted this. Is this your cat? And then put it on the Lawrence animal thing, whatever. And like people were ripping her a new asshole of, you need to get that cat, that it's going to freeze. Like it's going to be so cold tonight. You need to go and buy blankets and put blankets down in the sewers for those cats. They're going to, they're going to die. And all these people are telling Aubrey what to do. None of them are saying, I'll get in my car right now and bring blankets. Okay, mind you, she had a 5-minute break between 2 clients.
Right. Trying to help somebody out.
Yeah, she's at work, knew there were cats over there, walks over, takes a photo of the cat after it comes out just to see if it was anybody's cat. And then all these people are telling her, here's the brand of food that you need to buy. It's the most expensive, the only gutter cats will eat. And it's like all these people are chiming in on Facebook, telling my girlfriend now, and like it started to get really negative. People were saying really mean shit to Aubrey of like, are you heartless? How could you leave those cats out there? And like Aubrey was like, in the post where she said she said, here is the storm sewer that the cats are in. Here's the address of my shop. Mm-hmm. It's in the parking lot of my shop. The cats are not hard to find. If this is your cat, this is where it's at. And, all these people are like just shitting on her and the salon. They drug the salon into it, about like what kind of owners would just allow cats to range freely around in this parking lot, and just saying the most negative shit. And of course, all these people are chiming in. If I didn't have this going on, then I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Of course.
The same stuff.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, keyboard warriors. But the thing is, you think of like a keyboard warrior, and you think of like this super trolly asshole type, like a fat dude that's pissed off and has McDonald's grease dripping down his face, and he's like he's playing Doom in his basement at his mom's house.
Doom.
So those are the kind of people that you think of as like a keyboard warrior. But the problem is, and this is an analogy that I'll use. The United States Mint is not worried about one person counterfeiting $1 million. They're worried about 1 million people counterfeiting $1 just to see if they can do it. It's the same situation. A keyboard warrior probably isn't a keyboard warrior every time they log into Facebook or something, but you catch them whenever their boss just reamed them over some stupid shit, and now they're just sitting in their cubicle at their job that they hate, where they're extremely unproductive with nothing better than to scroll on Facebook, and they're pissed off and they see something they don't like. So what do? They keyboard warrior. They chime in and say something fucked up and tell they're taking out their shit on someone else. Okay, the shit's rolling downhill. They're passing the buck. So then somebody like my girlfriend, who's trying to do a nice thing, she came home and she was all pissed off about it. She's like, this is what I get for being nice. This is so absurd.
And she took it out on you, right?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, she did. She took it out on me.
Oh.
Wink, wink, yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah. We played cats and, I don't know, cats and hot dogs.
There was wrestling.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if I could, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I'm thinking, do I do it? Do I delete Facebook? And not just like delete the app, but
delete your page and everything.
Remove myself from Facebook. Do I do it? Is Facebook worth it? And I'm thinking about all like the events. Okay. Like I'm trying to plan on getting a bunch of guys together to go ride at Motorland in Indiana this year, because I want a bunch of people to go with me. And the only way for me to get a hold of the people at Motorland is to get on Facebook. Right. Okay. So then I feel like the only way is for me to rely on my... something's ticking kind of... Is it that? I have to rely on my friends and be like, hey, it only does it like if you send a message. It just clicks for a couple seconds. Yeah, it's weird. Then I'd have to message you and be like, hey, you want to log on to Facebook and see when Motorland's practicing? And eventually we're all going to be off of it.
And the next thing will be here. Right.
So I don't know what the fix is, but I'm getting to the point to where I'm just like, this isn't worth it. This isn't, whatever it is that I'm investing into Facebook, my mental currency, it ain't free. It's a free, it's a free thing that you get to use.
There is no free lunch.
Yeah, but one way or another.
College.
Education taught me that. But it ain't free. One way or another, it isn't free. Right. Number one, you're giving away your personal information. Number two, you're being advertised to. Okay? You scroll through your feed, you're going to get 7 advertisements from Chubbies or Pit Viper, that kind of stuff.
Now the way it's gone, where even shit that you've Googled that I was looking for, now that's there, and that is annoying as shit.
Yeah, you're like, I already bought it. Dude, I had that happen to me. Shit that I bought from a month ago, they'll advertise, and I'll be like, this was a one-off item that I bought on eBay.
Yeah.
Why am I still being advertised this thing that doesn't exist anymore?
Well, in a linked, but yeah, it's crazy to see. I mean, as you call them, keyboard warriors, but people won't as much as say hello to your face, let alone, actually argue to your face or just say something they don't agree with to you or another idea, but they're happy to do it on the keyboard.
Here's one for you. After I drug that kid off the track by his helmet, the amount of hate that I had was absolutely unprecedented. And this was months ago, I will still, every once in a while, somebody will see that video and comment on it and tag me and then tag Nick Merritt in it. And it's like, why the fuck do you...
So stupid.
It's so dumb. But there was a guy... So I wrote a Facebook status a long time ago, a couple of years ago, about riding the correct practice whenever you go to the track.
Yep. Yep.
Some guy, I don't know who he is, that's a KMCS, his boy rides, and this dude was so far out of place in his long ass comment that he left. And I'm thinking, you fucking bitch, you'd never come up to me and say that to me in person. You would never say that.
Right.
You look like a fool. People will never say those kinds of things to you in person. And I see it right here on my Facebook, and I'm like, is this worth it? Is it worth it to have this, to be connected, but yet more disengaged from all the people that I know than I've ever been?
Connected and judged.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, whenever people see something that it's this long and totally out of context, like the kids with the red hats and the Indian guy, I can't remember the name of the school, but those kids, I mean, that kind of shit happens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the internet, where someone will see one thing and spin it and turn it into their own little narrative, and then all of a sudden you've got 750,000 people that want, I want names. They want people's names over who those kids are. Same thing happens in our tiny little industry in motocross, where you get these little judgments. Did you listen to the AJ Catanzaro thing where he went off on Buttery?
No, I saw it all after the aftermath on Instagram, and then I never went into the podcast, but I had to do some digging around to see what had happened.
He's got a little T-Rex arm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry. Look over.
I know. I'm hand talking with a sling on, so really I'm just wiggling my hand around.
Funny. Yeah, you were doing it earlier, and I was trying not to laugh at you.
Well, I've pretty much spent half the year in a sling, so.
Anyway, so fill me in. I haven't heard this whole thing.
All right, so AJ Catanzaro is a pro racer. And then, do you know who Buttery Films is? Have you seen any of his videos on Instagram?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so this kid, mega, mega famous over just playwriting. Okay, he's fucking modern day Mike Metzger.
Yeah.
But bigger.
Right.
And he doesn't
because of Instagram.
And he's just on Instagram.
Definitely not bigger, but bigger socially.
Yeah. Have you guys researched Mike Metzger
Jones
line?
No. Never mind. You said Metzger, not Jones.
Either way,
my fault,
either of them.
fault.
But dude, whenever Pastrana was doing the jump off and everything, there was all this shit I saw about Mike Metzger. Nobody's talking about him doing it, like backflipping over Caesar's Palace and all that.
Yeah.
And so I went and looked at him. I think he's had a rough run of luck.
Yeah.
The last while.
Okay.
Anyways,
but.
You want me to crack this real quick?
Go ahead, crack it. That's how a man does it right there.
That was a good one.
Yeah. So, this guy, AJ Catanzaro, was ripping this dude on his podcast. And honestly, he wasn't totally out of line.
And he wasn't necessarily, he brought up the guy. He was really more talking a subject and not just, he pulled this one name out as an example and in the context of the conversation.
There's a kid from New Jersey that has that's really popular on YouTube that has a fuck ton of videos. Every single one of them 70, 80, 100,000 views. I'd never heard of him before. He's just some local bee rider that goes on riding trips to Florida with two of his buddies, and he makes a 25-minute riding video every week, posts it. And because of that, the kid makes an extra $8,000 a month off of YouTube videos or whatever it is. It's so dumb, dude. And so that's how that Buttery kid, he figured it out. He figured out, okay, I can do these YouTube videos. I can have these Instagram people. I can get, X, Y, and Z parts, stuff, everything for free, go ride for free. And, because they always go to Milestone. He ain't paying to get in over there. They're letting him in for free because he's always going. He advertises Milestone more than he has pro riders to go there. Okay. So,
and he rides pretty good.
He's a good A-level rider. He can't race for shit. I'll say it right now. That dude can't race. You know how I know he can't race? Because he doesn't race. If he was a fast racer, he would race. End of topic. But Yeah, so anyway, AJ Catanzaro ripped on this kid.
He was talking about technique and how you have to have technique to go fast.
And then this dude, Buttery, took the audio snippet of it and then laid it over the top of him railing on the bike,
right.
He's riding good, but bad technique, but he's going fast. And then Connor, the Buttery kid's like, it's so sad that, this is the way the motocross industry is. And this is why people don't race anymore, because there's all this elitism. And he's like, I didn't even say anything to this guy, and here he's just shitting on me. And he's a, well-known pro rider. And he has a good point, but it was taken out of context. Like Scott said, they were talking about a specific topic of people that are popular on the internet and are not that good at riding dirt bikes. Which, in the grand scheme of things, here's the thing. I could Buttery 7 days a week on the motocross track. I'm not that good at riding a dirt bike. I'm better than the average rider, but in my eyes, I'm not that good. Because we go race. If I go to the Pro National, I'm like 24th in an LCQ. That's not that good.
Yeah. Yeah. And he just paints as a victim, and then we'll get back to what we were starting this about. Yeah. The internet just started exploding, attacking AJ.
Yeah.
And he had to put up this apology. I think he felt like he needed to explain that it was taken out of context and what it was.
I went back, but what's funny is after that I started listening to AJ's podcast. It's fucking good.
Is it good?
It's really good. It's a really good podcast because it's like it's a weekly recap of the races from a racer standpoint.
Yeah.
It's one of the better ones. And I think that it's needed. His podcast is needed because we're not going to the races. So if we're talking about the racing, it's just purely speculation. It's what we saw on TV. And I don't think that it's interesting. That's why I try to steer clear from talking about Supercross or pro racing at all costs, because we're not there.
Right.
We're not racing. I'm not in the industry. Sure, I can get the stuff that I hear, I can't repeat. So there's no point in even talking about it to me.
So speaking of that, Seattle's tonight.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it too.
I suppose.
Yeah. I bought the Gold app. Oh. I did it when I went in for surgery. I went in. I ended up and bought it, but at the discounted price, of course. But I did pay for outdoors because I still feel like I'm going to be doing nothing for the next 6 months. So
discounted price.
It's like $10 cheaper right now if you buy it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't have it, obviously.
I got it. Well, you don't have a phone that works. What's it like to suck?
It's been pretty nice, to be honest.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's eye-opening. It's good.
Jesse, are you selling anything or doing anything on the side?
I clean gutters on the side. It's kind of fun.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I get up on a roof and I do stuff that other people don't want.
What's the name of it? Where do you do it at?
Well, I call it Gutter Flow. Gutter Flow.
Is it on Facebook?
We are on Facebook. I am on Facebook, not we. But yeah, I had it on my van, and then I decided I didn't want to have my phone number posted on the side of my van anymore.
Yeah.
But part of being a fireman is to be able to have a side gig.
Yep.
And I kind of just started doing it just to do it, and I tell you what, you're out there nice days hanging up on a roof and listening to music or podcasts and
just doing whatever you want.
Enjoying the day. And you know what's cool about a part-time job is usually it's just icing on the cake. You know what I mean? So you don't have to be there.
Right.
So.
It's Scott Gebkin's Innovative MX.
It is Scott Gebkin's Innovative MX.
You want to come to a school? You want to come do a school? You want to come put one on?
Do a school?
You want to be like a Jeff, an assistant coach?
I don't know if I ride good enough to do that.
Hey, you could just go on Cool Factor.
But no, I could. Hey, how about this?
But are your knees bruised yet?
They're starting to hurt.
I could show guys how not to do it. I gotta say, every time you post, I'm like, man, I'm just gonna go pay for a school so I can go riding, because it seems like practice days I'm on shift,
right?
And then you might be having a school. I'm like, man, that looks sick.
Man, I am trying to set up schools. Like Jeff and I have been talking about this a little bit about. I'm trying to branch out a little bit, and not like branch out and take over and where other guys training. Just trying to find some other places to go, some other tracks and different, in St. Louis or in Nebraska or whatever. And I'm having the hardest time.
Yep.
Getting places that want to do it. Like it's kind of confusing to me, but it shows the difference in the Kansas City type of rider base and how we do things here compared to I'm just gonna pick somewhere Des Moines or Rochester or whatever, and how places do things, and it's been interesting feeling the waters out for that.
You know, I've thought about it for a couple of years. It'd be fun, and they had a motorcycle riding school. Like, I'm talking street stuff now, right? Because I just attribute so much of riding on the street, safety wise, back to the dirt, knowing what it feels like if your front end washes or your ass end, how not to freak out, you know, and doing that type of stuff. It's like, but thinking along those lines, you know, I thought it'd be cool. Hey, you know, you get a lineup of CRF 230s or something, and you have a dirt spot to go on, and you have, you know, maybe a parking lot like some of the safety classes do, but you still, I explained to like guys and gals, if you will, you know, go ride a dirt bike first so you know what it feels like to have the bike move underneath you. So if it happens on the pavement, you don't freak out, because I mean, that's the only chance you have. Right. It either goes or it bites. Right. You know, and if you're freaking out at that moment, you're screwed. And then street, I gotta stay off the street. And it's like, dude, you just learn to ride a motorcycle first. You know, I mean, just nice and slow. I mean, not with, you know, a 2,000-pound truck behind you, you know, and learn the way a motorcycle works, you know, but venturing to that, you know, it's like, where do you even find a big open field and rent from somebody? I don't even know how to start it.
It's funny you say that, because I was at a gas station one time, and I had my dirt bike in the back, and there was a guy on a Harley in front of me, and this girl that was inside buying smokes came out and saw the Harley and said to the guy, "I want a Harley." And he said, "Have you ever rode one?" She said, "No, I've never rode a motorcycle." He said, "Well, you need to buy a dirt bike like that guy's." And she looked over and she's like, "Yeah, but I don't want a dirt bike." And the guy said, "It hurts a lot less to crash one." And I at that time I was thinking, damn, there's no better way to get into motorcycling than riding a dirt bike and you know, I mean,
building a skill set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, even if you're terrible at it, even if you're not a racer, you just ride in a field. Whatever it is that you figure out of riding a motorcycle in a field will help you be a better street bike rider. 10
times better on a street bike just from that. You know, if you look at it, you follow any of the MotoGP guys or anything, that
they all ride dirt
like
bikes.
Marc Marquez, he could probably qualify or be pretty close to qualifying for an outdoor national.
Ben Spies,
yeah. And those guys all race MotoGP or AMA Superbike or whatever it is nowadays.
That's like, not to interrupt you, Valentino Rossi doesn't ride street bikes.
Yeah, most of the guys don't practice on. They don't practice on GPs.
Honestly, they usually have XR100s, not to stay on Hondas, but you know, they're reliable, unbreakable.
Or a Honda 450.
And you can pick them up cheap. Yeah. But no, I mean, they'll have a grass track. I mean, I know flat track guys that did it, road race guys, and that's how. And hell, they would go out to parking lots. Back when I was probably 15, Shane Clark, who used to work at the shop, he rode race street bikes. I mean, pro level, all that. But we went out. He had a couple YSR 50s and XR 100s, and that's what we did, and ran tanks of gas through.
Did you ever do the whole parking lot wheelie thing with Kristen Hampton?
No. I'm not. Wheelies aren't. Anyway, I digress.
that was a thing.
We
for a
Brian Smith's backyard. You know,
I never got to go over there.
You never went?
I never went to Brian's backyard.
I went.
It was fun.
Yep. He'd always call me, "Dude, come over. You got to flip." And it just, at the time, I was like 19. I was like, fuck that, dude. I'm going to get hurt.
Yeah, you were making money doing it back then.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm untouchable. I'm a rock star.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Oh, wait. Man, that was fun though.
That's one thing I haven't done yet is like a track day on a sport bike or anything.
Yeah, same.
I've wanted to do one, and like with Richard at Dell's, I had the opportunity to do it, but I think I was young, and I was like, man, I want to ride dirt bikes. I don't want to. I think I was too paranoid for one of crashing his sport bike and how much it was going to cost to fix it, and I didn't have any money, you know. And I was like, I'm good. Well, he was always telling me, man, you'll be fine. You know how to ride a dirt bike. And because of you'll be better than 90% of the people there because of your dirt bike skills. You're used to the bike sliding around or doing this or that, and you'll know how to control it and do it. And I haven't done it, and I regret. That is one thing that I wish I would have done back when I worked at Dell's, is going and doing a track day or something like that.
That's what was impressive at the Supermoto, and what was so fun about it is, I mean, you had these pros coming over from flat track, from road racing, from all walks. And, you know, man, specifically at the Nashville Speedway, I remember doing this night practice, and I was pretty good buddies with Matt Burton, and he was old flat tracker. He's probably more your guys' age.
So yeah, that's accurate.
He hauled ass, but you know, we went around the Speedway, you know, it's all banked and stuff, and I'm sitting here thinking, fuck yeah, I'm moving, I feel like I'm tapped out on my 450, and then that son of a bitch comes down underneath me, like on the apron, and he throwing sparks, gives me the little, you know, road race kind of flat track wave. I'm like, shit. You know,
he had you,
but dude, and he came up after. He's like, man, I was gonna come up and tap on your shoulder, but I figured I'd scare you. But you know, those guys are so used to that. But yet, you know,
you put a jump on the middle like a TT,
and I tell you what, Matt was. He might be a bad example in this. He ended up, you know, I mean, I thought he got podiums and stuff. But you'd have your flat track or road race guys, and you'd have a good dirt motocross section, and you'd go passing them, and you know, I'd rail pass them, and then next thing you know, you get to the street, dude, they're railing, dragging knees on supermotos,
right?
You know,
on something that shouldn't be doing
oh my
that.
God, and, you know, but it was so cool. It was back and forth,
right?
And it was cool just seeing the skill set and the difference, you know, and hell, and that made for good racing too.
That's like whenever Sipes went to that TT last year and was wheeling over the singles, and it was like
people had never seen
mind
it.
breaking. Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's so cool that
Outside
flat track
perspective.
and TT's like coming back. Yeah. Harley's throwing a ton of money at it. It's been in the X Games the last couple years.
KTM's full hog with it
KTM
also.
is through. I mean, I think it's progressing even further. And yeah, KTM, Husqvarna. I think they're building. They have a bike out specific to that, don't they? Or a kit you can get or something? No.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why it's doing so well? Accessibility.
Yeah.
Because they're speedways.
Well, no, it's not that. It's every person that has a motorcycle can race a flat track.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
With like the run what you brung type vibe,
Yeah.
you know,
like a Nobby's class or whatever.
Yeah, the flat track renaissance is very similar to the way motocross racing was in the 70s of just come. We'll have a class for you. You can ride whatever. You can ride a Honda Trail 70 with fold up bars.
That could be cool.
Yeah, but it's just so it's laid back. It's not super hardcore. You go practices at 6 and you're done by 9.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go out, you get your laps, you race, and you're done. And
it's probably pretty safe for the most part.
I mean, it's safer than motocross is.
I mean, if you crash, it's not going to feel good, but most of the time it's a low side and you just fall over and you get back up.
Yeah, and like, you know, most of these guys are doing those, what do they call them? The tacky tracks, like where they pour Coke on the floor. Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah.
Where they look like promoters will rent out an old warehouse or something, just pour Coke on the floor and just ride.
I think I've seen some of that on Instagram.
That's what they used to do at the ramp to ramp tours and the approaches to the ramps.
Yeah.
I'll be out there with a little spray bottle of those guys and keep it tacky for them.
Man, have you seen some of the crashes though when
that goes wrong?
Like when that goes wrong?
All of Vicky Golden?
Yeah, that's the first one I was thinking of. Oh, fuck. Yeah, no
nasty.
thanks.
Of when what goes wrong?
Like when you lose traction right up to a ramp or right in front of the ramp, or you don't make you case the jump.
I got the best view of one dude completely missed the landing, straight to concrete.
Like short or long or to the side?
Long to the side.
Oh, no.
It was
Screw that, dude.
ugly.
Hard pass on that.
I've never jumped ramp to ramp.
Ugly.
Ever.
I've jumped ramp to dirt.
Yeah, ramp
I've
to
done
dirt.
ramp to dirt, but I've never done ramp to.
I haven't.
And it was
ramped
very
to ramp.
small. I didn't go very big.
Yeah, it was ugly, but
I don't need any part of that. That's why I wanted to get a 125. That's why I'm still sort of kind of on the look for one.
GoPro, look slow. Fuck, the other way around. Go slow, look pro
Oh, yeah.
on 125. And
feels
sound like a Billy badass.
And it's a built-in excuse for guys like us.
Yeah. I was just telling somebody the other day about how, like, okay, growing up, McGrath was, the guy that we all looked up to. Meanwhile, Steve Lamson was just murdering in the 125 class, but nobody thought about it.
Right.
And like today, now when I'm riding today, in my mind, because I can't think of who was the last bad dude on 125 aside from Stewart.
The only other superstar is Pastrana.
Right.
I mean, but
he won one
title in each in
title.
Supercross and outdoors.
Yeah. So it's not that bad. He's not that bad.
Well, I mean, because
You know
then
what I'm saying?
Stewart was the last one of a dying breed. I mean, it's been 2 DFs.
Yep. I know,
So-
but that's my point. It's like, I love me some James Stewart, but I never looked up to him because I'm 2 years younger than he is or whatever.
Right. Uh-huh.
So now, like when I'm out on the track and I'm ripping, I do this thing where I to make myself push, I think, what would X, Y, or Z rider do in this situation? How much longer would they hold on? How much sooner would they get their foot out? How much, et cetera. And like, while I'm out ripping on my KTM, I am racing 1996 Steve Lamson in my head the entire time. All I'm thinking about is battling with Steve Lamson. And it makes me ride faster because of it. And it's so much fun.
I used to do that with like 03 Wyndham.
Okay.
When he first came back on the Honda.
That was your guy.
That was my guy.
Isn't that funny?
That's so funny. Because I would do, like when we had my track at my house and stuff, like that's one of the things that I would do is like I would, ghost race 03 Wyndham.
Ghost race.
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
ATV Off-Road Fury 2.
Damn. Let's wrap this up, boys. I'm ready to eat something. I haven't ate anything yet today.
Hungry.
Yeah. So, anybody you want to say anything on the way out?
Bueller.
Bueller.
Beer. No, I don't think I have too much. Wish Mike was here.
Yeah. When's your next? Do you have a class?
I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
I'm trying to work around it because there's the state race, the Missouri State race this weekend at Kingsville, and there's the Kansas State race at Jeeps this weekend.
Yep.
And then after that is the qualifier at Bar to Bar, and then I'm kind of trying to work something out for April, but the state races are kind of picking up and qualifiers are going on, so I don't have a date yet. I'm working on one. I'm shooting for April 20th, which is the Saturday before Easter. But it's an open day, so I'm with no other races going on. I'm trying to find a track and get it worked out wherever it works best. So that's kind of tentative.
That'd be fun to come hang.
You should just come to a
keep me
class.
out, man.
Awesome.
All right. The 2019 KMCS race schedule this weekend is Jeeps round 1. Next is round 2, April 27th at Platter Hill and Winfield. Round 3, Inman, May 4th and 5th. So we've got one KMCS race this month, April, and then 3 of them in May. May is prime time racing time. Probably the first KMCS race that I'm going to go to is May 11th and 12th, which is at Heartland Park. Heartland Park is a turning. That's in Topeka, Kansas, so that's round number 4. Bar to Bar has their first KMCS race the following weekend, round 5, May 25th and 26th. Next weekend is the first North Central Loretta qualifier, the 30th and 31st. Is that right? Or 30th and 30th? 29th,
30th, 31st.
Okay, yeah.
Friday,
So it's a
Saturday,
3-day event. You can still pre-register. So today is the 23rd, March 23rd, and you can pre-register up until Thursday, I believe, is whenever Bruce is going to cut off the pre-entry. So if you're worried about the weather or something like that, that's fine. You can, by then we'll have an accurate weather report. So I'm going to go and race at Bar to Bar on Saturday, and then come up and do Best of the Midwest at Merwin on Sunday.
To race the qualifier at Bar to Bar, you don't have to be qualifying.
No.
You can just race to race.
You do need an AMA membership, and you can buy a one-day pass. I'll tell you guys a little story about the AMA after we get off here. So yeah, go to kansasmx.com and print off the race schedule, put it in your phone, decide what you're going to do, but be sure to visit a couple of these tracks, a couple of the races for sure. Iowa is not that far away. Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, all of these tracks are worth making the drive to. John Paul puts on an excellent series. There's competitive racing in every class with badass awards, badass trophies. Bike Graphics is now the title sponsor of the KMCS, so you're guaranteed to have really cool awards at every race. Also go to DonnellsMotorcyclesinc.com. Is that it? Jesse?
I think it's just DonnellsMotorcycles.com.
I know
it's
their address,
Motorcycles.
17851 East 40 Highway. You can contact them at 816-478-9393. And hey, while we have him on the line, he will probably never listen to it. Big shout out, Timothy Sickle, parts manager of probably
it's over 40
46 years, what I believe it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I talked to him
word
yesterday.
has it he's retiring this year.
No.
So that guy has done more, I think, in that shop than a lot of people know, and has been a great mentor of mine over the years, and much love to that gentleman.
One thing I absolutely loved whenever I rode for Donnell's is I would go to the shop and I'd see Tim and I'd say, hey Tim, I need to get this bolt, or I need a brake lever, such and such. He already knew what it was that I rode. And I'd tell him, I need X, Y, and Z. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be like, don't you need to look up? Dude, he knew every part number.
Yep.
I
used to say 1973 GS 750. I need a head gasket. What is it? And he'd rail off the 10-digit part number right off the top of his head. I'd look it up on the old school parts fish. There it was.
Right. Yeah.
The only time I'd get him is if it was superseded.
Dude, yeah, right. Yeah. Or he'd be like a one letter off or something. Yeah. No, man. Tim, he knows his shit. And he what the coolest part about Tim, which every time I go in there, and this has been for the last 20 years, he asks how my parents are, how my family is. He knows what they do for a living and has checked in on them, hey, how's your dad doing, whatever, stuff like that. And I mean, it's crazy to think. And the thing is, he could do that for any of us in this room or anybody that walks in the door there. And he
started there, I think, 1973.
Cool. Wow.
Is when he started there. So, if I remember right. But anyway, he's made a big stance in the old motorcycle community over the years. So
yeah, absolutely. So shout out to
Timothy Sickle,
aka Parts Guy. So go check out Donnell's, buy some parts from Tim before he retires. Anything else?
Go to Bar to Bar. Go to the qualifier.
Yep, we'll see you there at Bar to Bar.